everyone, I have a short video for you all today. I'm going to tell you about my favorite drawing supplies and other supplies that I take with me when I'm on the go. Let's start with the paper. I use a large sketchbook and a small sketchbook. I don't have a favorite type of paper. I usually buy something different every time, but I like to experiment with different brands to see how I like them. Currently, I'm using the Fabriano 1264. It's a 60-pound paper that is acid-free. Acid-free products are important in your artwork because they will not yellow over time, damaging your artwork. I rarely have finished drawings in my sketchbooks, but I still prefer to have a good quality paper. I also try to keep my sketchbooks affordable, as most of my drawings are just messy thumbnail sketches and ideas. My smaller sketchbook that you can see here, I carry with me on the go. It fits in my purse and it's super cheap. I got it from Jerry's Artarama for free after buying, I think, like $75 worth of stuff. But anyways, it's not acid free, but I use it more for doodling, and it doesn't bother me that the quality is poor, as I won't be doing any finished work in it. I find the cheap sketchbooks that are not fancy are less intimidating to draw in. I have a great fear of the blank page, so if this is you, having a nice cheap sketchbook that you won't feel bad for messing up, that might help you in that. Next up, let's talk about the pencils. I have a full tin set of graphite pencils from Faber-Castell. These are the Castell 9000. It's a nice quality pencil and I've enjoyed using them for a long time. I've also used Staedtler and Derwent brands. I don't see much of a huge difference between them, but they're all great reputable brands, so any of those will work. I also have Faber-Castell's matte graphite pencils, and these have less of a reflection and you can get very dark values that my other pencils cannot. I also have a small pencil that I have sharpened with a razor blade to expose more of the lead inside, and this allows me to draw in much wider pencil strokes and I can fill in areas much quicker. You may see a lot of other artists having that same method of sharpening for their pencils, but you can decide what fits best for you. Typically, I don't use this method, but it is helpful when I want a wider pencil stroke. I also use a variety of mechanical pencils with different grades of graphite in them. I really enjoy using blue lead for constructing my sketch, then going on top of it with regular pencil. The blue lead isn't as harsh on my eyes, and it's more comfortable for me to see before I add regular graphite. One of my other favorite mechanical pencils is this 0.3mm lead pencil. It can give me very fine lines and it's really good for doing details. I carry about 4 different mechanical pencils with me, one with blue lead, one with that tiny diameter lead for details, and one with HB lead and one with 4B lead for dark values. In case you didn't know about the letters and numbers associated with the pencil lead, this is what they mean. If you look on the back of my pencil case here, you can see that this set ranges from 5B up to 5H. From what I understand, B stands for black, which is a softer lead and is much darker in value. So the higher the number, the more of that effect you will have on your pencil. So 5B would be darker and softer than 2B. At the other end of the scale, we have the H series, which stands for hard. These leads are lighter in value, and the higher the number, the harder and lighter that pencil lead is. In the center, we have HB, which is the middle of the road kind of value. It is the equivalent to a number 2 pencil, and then we have the F, which stands for fine point. I don't usually carry this large set with me on the go, as my pencil case can only hold so much. I usually only use about 4 pencils that will give me a wide range of values. For example, I might carry 5H, HB, 3B, and 5B. These 4 will give me all the values I need by simply adjusting my hand pressure. Next up, we have some miscellaneous tools that I use for blending, shading, and erasing. First, we have what's called a kneaded eraser. This is very similar to Silly Putty. This eraser is moldable and allows you to blot your pencil marks to lift the value, or you can smush it into different shapes to add texture or erase small, tiny areas. These other 2 pencils are in a pencil form. These are great for small areas or erasing thin lines. The pink one is a little bit more flexible and doesn't erase a lot, so it's good for just small adjustments, while the other one has a more firm eraser and can erase a lot more. I also find that this particular one can erase color pencils a little bit better than other erasers, though keep in mind you can't really erase color pencil that well. This white rectangular eraser is just a super cheap rubber eraser. I like it a lot because it erases large areas very well, and it doesn't leave behind any colored marks like the pink ones that we're all used to. These next two are again in a pencil form, but these are more of a mechanical pencil style. They have the same type of eraser as the rectangle eraser does. These two are my absolute favorite as they erase very well, and you can create wonderful details with them, like creating flyaway hairs or cat whiskers. You can also cut the tips in a diagonal to get an even more of a sharp line. The larger one I got from Michaels, and it's just a generic brand, whereas the other one, the smaller one, is called a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. This one comes in either a rectangle shape or a circle shape. I prefer the circle shape. Okay, moving on to blending tools. These are called blending stems. These are just made of compressed paper in the form of a stick. All these really do is just take the place of your finger, so when you want to smudge your pencil marks, you just use light hand pressure and go over them until they start to smooth out. I will sometimes scrub them on some sandpaper in a weak attempt to clean them, but realistically they are so cheap, it's better just to buy a new one. I do find that the dirty ones can give you a nice method of adding soft texture, like adding freckles to a portrait. Taking your sandpaper, you can also scrub your graphite to make powder and apply with an old makeup brush. This technique will give you a very soft, almost airbrushed look. I find it's helpful to use this method when drawing things like soft gradients. It is also so gentle on the tooth of the paper that you can use your pencils to easily erase nice, clean, sharp lines. I use this method for creating patches of grass. You can also see how I compare it to the blending stem. Both can give you some nice soft gradients, but nothing really beats that brush and powdered graphite look. By the way, you can actually buy powdered graphite. I'm just way too lazy to go buy some myself. So that's all of my favorite drawing supplies that I use anytime I'm drawing. You don't need to have all these supplies like I do to get started. I just tend to hoard art supplies over time and pack in as many tools as I can in my bag because you just never know when you're going to need it. If you are a beginner, I would recommend picking 3 to 4 graphite pencils, which can be bought open stock, blending stumps, a kneaded eraser, a white rectangle eraser, and if you can splurge, then buy the pen eraser. Those are so helpful. Mechanical pencils could also be a very helpful addition when starting, as they give you the ability for clean lines and small details. Just a cheap one would be fine. I also use a ruler, but sometimes I also use an old credit card for drawing straight lines too. If you want to see what else I keep in my pencil bag, keep watching. I try to combine painting and drawing when I'm on the go, so I got this cute pink pencil bag off of Amazon that has lots of storage space for more junk. In the zipper pocket of this pencil bag, I have a couple white pencils that are just white charcoal, and I also have a white jelly roll pen for quick highlights. I also have a few more mechanical pencils with different sized leads. This large diameter one really takes the place of the pencil that I had shaved down earlier. As far as my painting supplies, I try to keep myself as portable as I can be. I have a small tin that came with a little porcelain palette that I filled with gouache. I made a little color chart with my palette so I know what colors I can get out of it. I also have a small set of travel brushes from Mimic Kolinsky. I scored these guys off of Jerry's clearance aisle for $10. I like them much better than the water-filled brushes that I have here. I have some issues with these guys leaking, and the bristles are just kind of meh. I think I'll just stop using them. I'll also keep some paper towels in there too. In the back section, I have a retractable razor blade, a small clip to hold down pages in my sketchbook or watercolor book, and I also have some micron pens that I use on top of my gouache paintings. Now, the important part about micron pens is that they are waterproof. So if you like to combine watercolor or gouache with pen, make sure that your pens are waterproof. Lastly, I also have some spare graphite pencils. I have some water-soluble pencils and a sanguine-colored charcoal pencil. Probably more stuff than I actually need, but as I stated earlier, you never know when you will need it. I hope you have enjoyed this little tour through my favorite supplies that I use. I'm always trying to improve my setup. If you have some tips or must-have supplies, please share them with me in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.